Hello, hello. Happy Saturday. Thanks for the hydrate, A the ant. Hey, Lost Sleep Games. How's it going? Sapphire, happy Saturday. Thank you so much for the sub, Lost Sleep Games. Getting us to our sub goal. That's huge. Appreciate that. Let's put on our usual radio here. I also saw you boosting the server. Thank you so much. I have to figure out how to deliver that value to the people, but I will do it. I'll figure it out. I was just staring at my logo and I was like, how am I going to animate this? How do you animate this? I was like, oh, maybe I could have like a bar of like a sheen travel across it. I could look at how people do like the glints of light or something off the spear or something like that. I was like, how am I going to animate this? We can have an animated server icon now. How am I going to... So, problems. Problems and solutions all in one. You never have nitro? You don't even really know what boosting does? Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the boost and the sub. And just hanging out. How's things going? I know you shared a bit of your project on the server. It looks really good. I really like it. That's really neat. Hey, you're over there on YouTube. Twitch ads, you know, fair the ant. I appreciate the hydrate. Cheers. You're working on your first boss fight now? You going for a cross between Tiny Tiger from Crash and Metal Greymon from Digimon? Oh, interesting. I'm not familiar with. I think I could think of Tiny Tiger if I had to. But yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for popping by as well. Sapphire, make the shield, spear and shield clank. Yeah, no way. That would be impossible. Because what you would want is you'd want them to move, and that would be hard. You'd want them to, like, angularly move. No way. No way. Buff Tiger, X buff T-Rex. Okay, I can understand that. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. For anyone else join us first time, it's Digital Iliad. It's episode 352. We're working on some FTL-like games. I missed my last couple of streams. I had some fun stuff and less than fun stuff. Had some work, had some family stuff. Thursday, Friday, so appreciate you all hanging in there. And, you know, doing whatever else you would do if I wasn't around. Thank you. Appreciate some of you hanging out here today. We're working on the side project. We're working on Lo-Fi Flyby, our kind of FTL light. That is like a sub project within our big main FTL-like project. It's a part of an initiative to make a game that doesn't need all of the features of the main game, and make a little game that's got like, that only needs like a third of the features. Do something a little different, do something a little more like a desktop companion, kind of idle game kind of thing about a character as like a cargo ship pilot, kind of, you know, going around doing little things, you know, picking up cargo, passengers, dropping them off, fixing the ship. Do a kind of a more passive kind of vibe check of the universe and the setting, and see if we have something here people are interested in. 105 stream streak from Sapphire Starship. That's incredible. Absolutely unbelievable. Appreciate you. But yeah, I've been having some second thoughts about the design. I think we're getting pretty close with our capsule art. I think we're getting closer. I think I need to answer a few more framing questions, but I'm pretty happy with this. I think all I have to do is answer some questions about the specific different framings that like the Steam store has, which I've modeled with these little masks. I don't think I can make it all work with the same framing, but this is good. This is a good framing, so I don't really want to change it. The big problem is the small capsule, which is so small. I think I might have to blow it up to at least 2x. And I think even 2x would be too small, so I think this will be an interesting question. Let's try it at 2x. Why not? I don't think 2x is going to look good, but... So that would be 80 by 30. Yeah, no way. Oh, maybe. Maybe. Nah, it's just... It's tough. It's tough. The only other option is to bring it to full size, which is a 120 by 45, which is maybe our only choice, really. That might be our only choice for this one. I have to think about that some more. I might move things around a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure about the small capsule. The small capsule's a problem. Other capsules I feel pretty comfortable with, like the header capsule, the main capsule. I'm a little weirded out by this part up here, but I think it's fine. The vertical capsule is probably fine too, because most of the time the bottom half of this is actually covered up by like ad stuff, by like, this is on a sale for this amount, blah blah blah. So I think you only see this full version of it in your library. Maybe put something funny down here if you feel like it. And then the page background, I think, will be like this, but without the other assets. Like without... That might look terrible, but we might try it anyway. Yeah, I'm really concerned about the small capsule. Hey, Nix. How's it going? What's the glass cannonball supposed to be anyways? What's it made of? I don't know. Ask Mobius. I didn't invent it. You want to know more about the bubble ship, you ask Mobius. Why doesn't my keyboard work? My regular keyboard needs to be recharged. My backup keyboard is being super weird. Hello? Keyboard. Well, I can't type anything. That's fun. That makes life a little hard. Yeah, a thin film of soapy water. Like the Mobius strip? No, Mobius, like Jean Girard. Like the greatest, like, living, like, sci-fi artist. Actually, he's not living anymore, is he? Maybe we'll just call him the GOAT. I really hope he's not still alive, and I just said he was dead. I'd figure it out, but my keyboard won't connect. Gerard. Jean Gerard. Oh yeah, he's very dead. Rip. Rip Mobius. He invented the bubble ship. I'm just ripping it off. Well, I'd save this. I guess I have to use my... I guess my only option is to use my drawing tablet. Come on, keyboard. Okay, now it's working. Yeah, it's modeled after Mobius's bubble ship, which I'm trying to find a picture of. It's not a terribly... Oh, this is... I'm having a hard time finding a high-res version of it. Rip. If you know, you know. Let's just end it there. Found an artist's rendition of it by Martin Vet. I assume you're talking about a Mobius strip and not Mobius's bubble ship. But yeah, we're not really working on this right now. What we're supposed to be working on is the layout for the first ship. And I've been doing it like this the whole time. I've been doing it like based on my systematic cutaway. But I'm having deeply... Yeah, but why did you need another artist's rendition of the bubble ship? There's just the Mobius. All right, now I have to find it. Here's what I searched for it. That's just funny. It'll be like, here's the highest res version of it. It was just a funny way to say you'd seen it. This is the bubble ship. This is the big version of it. This is the classic one from the cover of The World of Adina. It's so cool. Wish there was like a gradual. Is it? Why is it going in when I go? Okay, I'm not gonna mess around with this. That's confusing. But yeah, there's other takes on it too. The World of Adina is so good. Like, here's another take on the bubble ship. He did a lot of takes on his bubble ship. He did a lot of different versions. Here's another version of the bubble ship. It's a good one. It's the classic shot of the bubble ship. Most of these shots are from the very first chapter of Adina. Makes sense. The story kind of changes after this. Oh, this seems spoilers. Oh, is this just the whole... I'll just include the... I'm gonna read this later. This needs to be bookmarked. Whatever this is a cool article. Remus. Reminds you of the Valerian and Laureline comics. Oh yeah, I could see that as an influence. Because those are both French and from like the 70s. I know Jean Girard, I don't think is actually French. I think they're like Belgian or something. I don't want to get in that fight. Valerian and Laureline are cool. People were so down on the movie, which I think Luc Besson did. So people should have had more respect. So they should have put more respect on his name. He did the Valerian film, right? Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. That was like actually okay. That was an okay movie. It wasn't great, but yeah, people are mean. It's got 47% on Rotten Tomatoes. People were very mean about it. Thought it was okay. It wasn't great, but for like, you know, the Marvel standard of today, I thought it was fine. Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah, exactly. I'll probably go back and watch it again in a bit. Anyway, I'm having second thoughts about doing the ship this way. I'm like thinking about this in terms of my shipbuilding tool, which is a tool I developed to, you know, make many ships. Oh, that's a cool riff on the bubble ship. Yeah, bubble ships are just cool. They're just cool. That's interesting. That's more of like a dark version of it. Yeah, it's supposed to be a call out to people. Like if you know what this is, you know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, you're like, hey, this is like a cute little, there's like a girl flying through space in a bubble with a cat. I mean, you probably don't read this as a cat because I'm terrible. I'm kind of tempted to move her over a little bit, but I'm not sure. Not 100% on it. To like move, offset her chair a little back and maybe try to include some more instrumentations or something instead of just making this magical floating bubble. I didn't want to do too much more detail work until I had the composition largely figured out, and I'm pretty happy with this composition. So it's probably time to start thinking about more details and fleshing this out and finishing it up. But yeah, I'm having second thoughts about this because I'm building it with my tool in mind, and the tool was built to like make it easy for me to build many ships, which means it's like at this phase it works a certain way for a certain task. This is just being removed from my Google Drive that I'm not asking. Files just getting deleted from Google Drive over here. Not even working on it. Computer's like, hey, just so you know, we've decided to delete some files off your computer. I'm like, okay. But yeah, it's based on this tool, which is a very gray boxy, like this is to help me make many ships. And many ships that have like more rigid compartment designs, right? But the problem is that the problem for this game, for Lo-Fi Flyby, is different. There's a different problem. For this game, I need to be able to make a bunch of ships that kind of operate the same way and have like just different like layouts and stuff. So I've like developed this tool. But Lo-Fi Flyby does not have that constraint. Lo-Fi Flyby, I need to make like one ship. And not only do I need to make one ship, but it's gonna stay on the screen by itself, like at all times. Like the other things aren't gonna be pulling focus in the way, like in the main game. Because in the main game, it's like an FTL-like, right? So you might get into combat and you like zoom out and like you have another ship next to you and you're like working on you're like figuring out how to like target their systems and like you're taking fire and maybe you launch a boarding action, so you like zoom in on their ship to like manage the boarding action, then you go back to your ship to like deal with some shit that's happening on your ship. Lo-Fi Flyby is not that. Lo-Fi Flyby, we need to make one ship that looks super compelling, and it can have a static cutaway model. So it doesn't need to have like a dynamic cutaway, like where the engine room is like sealed until like you scroll into it or the character travels into it or something. And like maybe that's better. Maybe it would be better if it was like that. But I realize I don't have to do this like that. This ship does not need to be like that. And so I'm just thinking about what to do differently. I'm thinking about making the ship one big chamber, kind of like maybe approximately like bathtub shaped or something. I'm thinking about putting on maybe like a kind of gull wing door kind of thing. It's like the opposite of a gull wing door. I'm thinking about, instead of having these cargo doors that open up like sideways, ones that like fold out, like stuff that's more dynamically interesting as a shape. I'm gonna sneeze, hold on a second. I don't ignore hydrates, Nix. I drink them, and I when I see the hydrate, I do the hydrate. Ignoring it would be me looking over, seeing it, and then not doing anything about it. You're overestimating the amount of times that you should know better in terms of what my chat latency is. Hey, Commander. Ant, back on Twitch. You just realized what is Lo-Fi Flyby? It's like a side project we're making that's supposed to be like kind of an idle kind of a game, kind of like a Ropica's Idle Island or like a Rusty's Retirement, kind of like a small scope, like a tightly scoped small example of like the bigger game that we're trying to make. Something to get me to stop working on systems and start working on content. start exploring some of these content questions that we've been ignoring because we've mostly been working on systems. And also something so that I can, get something published in the next, couple of years. Instead of waiting, 6 to 8 years to publish something as I work on my big project. I think of it as a vibe check of whether people are interested in this universe and my art. In my universe and my art and my vibe. My general approach to like ambience and setting. It's kind of a vibe check to me if I'm like on the right track here. It's a question I should have answered earlier, but you get to it. You get around to it when you get around to it. And yeah, we're working on her first ship, which is supposed to be kind of a rust bucket. But yeah, I'm thinking about what if the whole ship was like one big cargo bay and then the operational sections, like the second or third floor operational areas, are just these like catwalk things. But there's like one big exterior hull, and so there's like a big cargo bay down in the belly. Maybe you have some like engines sticking out the back, but they stick into the back of the cargo bay. So instead of going to a separate room to work on the engines, you just move to the back of the ship. You like walk along the catwalks, of which I might have multiple levels. We could do other things. It would also let us include things like stairs and stuff. I'm thinking about how to make this shape more dynamic and more interesting and more of like something that you can see all of all the time instead of, because I like our cutaway system, but our cutaway system is designed for like bigger ships to make sense of bigger ships where you can't necessarily capture the scale of the ship without introducing impossible visibility issues because you have like rooms on top of rooms and rooms in front of rooms. But like Lo-Fi Flyby doesn't have that problem. So it doesn't need to have that problem. So we could find a different solution. It's kind of like what I said, making one ship is a vastly different problem to making many ships. And so far my solutions have all been based around making many ships. And I think I'm misidentifying, or I think I was misidentifying the challenge here. Because it's not like her ship, is the initial ship, is going to be like compatible with like the bigger game. I mean, it would be cute if you like saw it flying around, but it's like it has very different goals to the big ship. And so I think it would be kind of interesting. And it would be a way of keeping it smaller because I really want to keep it within this space. I want to keep it within like the middle section of the overall viewport because this is like a mock-up of like the regular viewport we use. But I think I want to try to limit the size of the ship to be in this 180p space here. And right now I'm kind of blowing it, especially if I want to add some kind of nest above. I don't know. These are all things I'm thinking about here. I gotta set up a klaxon that goes off every time you say something. Yeah. 160 episodes left until you've wanted to finish working on the map editor. That's true. I'd say we're early because we're not working on the map editor. 32 weeks. You say you'd get to... I don't think we'll get to 512 by the end of the year if it's 32 weeks. Maybe we will. You have to keep in mind that we do other things. Like, not this weekend, but next weekend, we're going to be doing the solo dev jam number 11, which I really need to finish setting up for. Very excited. Starts in 6 days. Starts next Friday. So, you know, we take breaks from working on this. So... I'd say we probably spend like a month not working on the game each year, at least. Between jams and vacations and stuff. But yeah, it'll probably be around the new year. But yeah, don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath on the map editor. I think we made that estimate before we really decided to switch gears and work on Lo-Fi Flyby and push the plan, which the game plan is to make a Steam page and make a trailer, and then make a little demo. So yeah, I would be surprised if we work on the map editor at all for like the rest of the year. I think we're gonna figure out a lot of stuff that will kind of transform the responsibility of the map editor. One of the things we need to figure out how we want to represent are objects that take up more than one block, like doors. And I think there's a large class of those things. And right now I have really no representation for them in the editor. I haven't really thought of how to think about them. That's a phrase. But yeah, I think the goal is we've doubled down on the idea that, you know, we don't want to be working on the map editor indefinitely. So we're not. I think before I look back at the map editor, I need to work on a bunch of other modularity questions. I do really like this door, though. I like the door. I just feel like this... These doors, my single, double, and triple doors, make a lot more sense as part of the main game, where you're like, okay, I'm building this ship. This room, I want to have a double door. This room, I want to have a triple door. And you're like dragging these blocks out, and the game is like, okay, this is the door that fits here. Lo-Fi Flyby does not have that constraint, because Lo-Fi Flyby, maybe eventually we add mod support to Lo-Fi Flyby. Maybe we don't. It would really depend on how successful the game was. Whereas, like, the main game is built off of the idea of mod support. It's built off of me having these tools for building, you know, for building this stuff that just run in the game. Yeah, I would argue that I've actually wildly exceeded my estimate for the time when we stopped working on the map editor. Because we stopped working on the map editor like 24 episodes ago. So I would consider myself ahead of schedule. I never said we were going to finish the map editor by episode 512. I just said we were going to be done with it, and I'm done with it for now. But yeah, this is a very different environment in which we're building here. This is where it's like, okay, I need to make some frigates, I need to make some cargo ships, I need to make some whatever, I need to make this, make that. And we're making this, like, we've got an assembly line here going where we're like making a bunch of different ships, and we need them to generally work. This is a great tool for that. For building a one-off ship that's like the main character of the game almost, or, you know, is up there with the main character. We need a different solution. We need something more hand built, which is partly why I was like, we're gonna hand draw this. I also really like our cutaway. I call them hedgerows, but it's this raised surface against the ground that really gives you a sense of this is the cutaway, but it really mainly works for like these rectangular rooms that are being built. But for Lo-Fi Flyby, I'm really thinking of having one holistic ship design that's like, instead of this like instead of this like subdivided, very rectangular build, I want to do something a little more organic, a little more singular. I want to do like a big space that you can see all at once. It's important to me that you can see the whole space at once. That's like kind of an important thing for me. And that's kind of tough because there is the exterior shell of the ship, and I do want you to see it sometimes. But we could also design it such that that works out just fine. Like we can have a static cutaway that's manually defined. Like we're not limited to the procedural cutaway that's like the fallback of like, this is how we cut away if we can't think of a different. I do like the idea of having like a programmatic cutaway where you could like mark a 3D space of like, cut this wall, don't cut this wall. I like the idea of that to address some of these issues. But for now, we don't even need to worry about that. For now, we are just worried about what this ship looks like. Hey, Rhiannon. How's it going? You have no proof. You have no proof what I said. But art is never finished. It's just abandoned. You could call the SEC on me and say that I made misleading. I've made misleading statements to the shareholders. That's materially impacted my stock price. I'm having a very allergic time this afternoon. I don't know why. I mean, I was walking around for a couple miles before the stream. But there's this, like, universal truth that I only start getting allergic when, I mean, the thing that we should have by episode 512 is, like, a little demo. That is probably not going to happen, but that's really what my goal would be, probably. My 512 goal, based on our current objectives. You didn't know there would be a stream today? We usually stream on Saturday, Arneo. If anything, I should have been streaming, the whole time. But I had some stuff come up for Thursday and Friday, and I needed to use that time block for. So, I do love streaming, but if there's a conflict, the stream is usually the one that has to give. And I think that's an important thing for people to do when they're streamers. But yeah, what we're thinking about is gutting this shape and doing a single shape that's, like, better. I guess I should start sketching things. I'm thinking about, like, the opposite of a gull wing door. I'm thinking about, what if these walls were, like, angled, and what if they were these big door mechanisms that lowered down so that the cargo area would just open up. We could either have one in the front, or we could have, like, one in the side, or we could have two. We could have one or two of these. I would need to figure it out in multiple directions, though. It would need to, like, go up and over. Right? It would need to be in, like, this kind of a state initially. And then it would need to fold down to, like, I'm not quite sure how it would fold down. It would probably fold down to something like this. I think this would be cool. I guess it would need to fold. I guess it would need to go like this. Fold down. This is hard to represent. I'd have to look at it in 3D probably to understand. I'm kind of interested in doing that. That's going to be really hard to implement, but I'm kind of interested in having, like, a big angled door that, like, lowers down. I'd have to figure out what the... I have to figure out how hard that's going to be with our perspective. But I would like to make the ship bigger and make the parts of it more pronounced rather than it be this kind of chopped up, subdivided kind of thing. I'm really inspired by our catwalk setup. I think it would be interesting if the way you got around the ship mostly was, like, you'd move around the upper systems here, so there'd be, like, a pilot seat in the front, or, like, a piloting area in the front, like an engineering area in the back. Maybe, like, you'd have, like, a hammock somewhere in a back corner where you could, like, sleep above like a catwalk area. Like, I'm kind of interested in doing something like that for the initial ship. I'm inspired by, like, Galloi, which is, like, the OG ship, which is almost like, that was, like, the Greek word for tub. So, like, the original ship designs they had were, like, these big, just tub-like interior holds. Kind of interested in that. I kind of also want to do a little crow's nest design like Darkstar. Kind of inspired by Darkstar now, having watched it recently. Oh, I'm sorry Chili had an issue. Glad she's doing okay. All right, see you, Sapphire. Is that where the term galleon comes from? Pretty much, yes. Yeah. Hey, Symbol, what's up? How's it going? Excited for the jam? I am. We were just talking about it. We were just talking about Solo Dev Jam, number 11. I've done 2 jams so far this year. I crashed out of one of them. I did Down to Jam, and then I tried to do Ludum Dare Compo. It didn't work out, so I'm very excited. I need to bounce back and do a Solo Dev Jam. Only 6 days. It's exciting. Very excited. The etymology of everything is fascinating, Lost Sleep Games. I have like a big book on it. I have a few books on etymology. I love reading about them. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really interesting what ideas stay like explicitly on our language and then what ideas kind of get subsumed into these like hidden meanings that most of us don't think about because most of us don't. We generally aren't aware of the literal meaning of most of our words because most of our words are like derived. Very interesting stuff. But yeah, I'm very excited. Right now we're trying to work on a prototype for ship design, and I'm having second thoughts about having it be multiple rooms. I kind of want to make it one space. I'm just wondering how much complexity I want. You know what would be cool is if it's maybe a kind of almost hexagonal like floor plan. That could be kind of neat. We could even have it come in at the top. So if I'm gonna do like a miniature version of it down here. My idea. I'd have to work out the perspective stuff. But I would like a cargo area that's like the majority of the ship. That's a little too harsh. Maybe not, though. That actually might be exactly right. But like... a long, big, open area should really... I tried sketching it out. I have a hard time sketching in pixel art. Just thinking about it. Did you vote on the theme? No, I haven't remembered how to log into the website. I have to try some things. I have to figure out whether I signed up through Google, like single sign-on. God, my hair is looking rough. Arneo, your parent... Oh, you can't participate, Symbol? I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Arneo, your parent's cat apparently had tooth pain. Went to the dentist. Could explain why she's cranky and hostile recently. Yeah, it's really hard. It is your responsibility as like the pet owner to like interpret their behavior because they can't tell us. They can't tell us when they're in pain. You have to just know what their normal behavior is and then know when they're not behaving normally. And that does get really hard. That can be really hard. Lost sleep. Genuine question. How do you justify spending time and energy doing game jams when you have a game you're working on? You've only done one jam because you struggle with this. I could see that being a conundrum. I could especially see that being a conundrum if you're like working on your game full time and you have like actual hard deadlines, like with publisher milestones and stuff. But like, I'm not in that position. I'm just working on, you know, I have a day job. I do work on this and I do take it seriously. I don't consider it a hobby. I consider it another job. But I think in terms of developing your skill, you kind of need to go through the whole cycle of developing a project to like get the full value. And the problem with working on your main game is you are not going through the whole cycle. You're going very slowly through it. Whereas with a game jam, you go through the whole cycle of development in a weekend, a week, 2 weeks, tops. You do the whole thing from ideation to implementation to publishing. I mean, publishing loosely, use that term loosely. But like people are playing it, you got playtesters, like you go through the whole cycle of developing a game. And I think from a creative standpoint, that's really healthy. From a developmental standpoint, it's like really valuable. So I think when you phrase it like, I have a hard time justifying the time spent on a jam, I think you're undervaluing the jam. But I get it. I understand the pressure to be like, I need to spend all of my available time on my main project. But I think you'll find the dividends are such that it's worth it. I would encourage anyone to do at least a couple jams a year. We've started to get out of control. We've ramped up from doing like 2 or 3 jams in a year to now doing like 6+, which is like maybe too much. But I really like jamming. Arnio, you always assumed you would make the rooms as these boxes and then fill out the silhouette outside with different shapes after. That's another concern for this initial version of the ship. I'm thinking about only having exterior walls. I'm thinking about having no interior partitions on this ship. Just because it has a different... Because I was talking about it earlier, like when you've got a big ship, like one of our ships, you have this, like one of the FTL full-on, like you've got a bridge and like a power room and like weapons rooms and like crew quarters and like a mess hall. Like once you get beyond a certain scope, I think you have to do the kind of thing that we're doing where you're like subdividing rooms and stuff, and most of them are rectangular because that's just the easiest thing to do. But the Lo-Fi Flyby has a very different requirement, which is that it's this window that's either on a second monitor or it's in like a little alpha transparency cutout section of like a corner of your screen or something. Like it's supposed to be a desktop companion. So I think I want the ship from that to be, there's an exterior view and an interior view. And there's not a lot of internal partitions within that. I think that's more interesting for Lo-Fi Flyby, but I don't think it, I think it's very specific to that situation. And the way I've been phrasing it is a studio ship for first-time ship owners. That's perfect, Rhiannon. That's exactly what it is. And you'd participate in a jam. You've locked yourself into your current idea. You keep abandoning projects. You're trying to at least publish something small. That's great, but that's also what a jam offers you. A jam lets you do the same thing. But yeah, I could see you not wanting to do that if that's what you're locked into doing already and you like your idea and stuff. It's a good perspective. Kind of what you figured. Emotionally, it's a struggle to get over. You think you just have to decide to start doing jams and trusting it to pay dividends. Yeah, I would do, if you can, try to do what I'm doing with the jams, which is to do short jams, do weekend jams, where like, because there is a risk that you like your jam game too much and it supersedes your regular game. I find that is unlikely to happen during a weekend because you can only do so much during a weekend. But if you try to do like the Godot Wild Jam, which is like 9 days, or you do like one of these jams, one of these bigger jams that's like a month, then you're talking about a project that is so heavily scoped that you're like, it could easily supplant your main game and take too much time. And I've definitely been in that position. Rhiannon, speaking of publishers, did you see Fullbox got a publisher for scope creep? Yeah, Fullbox told me that. He told me that. He popped in the stream at one point and was like, I got a publisher. But yeah, I've made that mistake. Lost sleep. You have no interest in week-long jams. 36 hours is the sweet spot based on a single data point. 72 hours is the sweet spot. 48 hours is too small. There's not enough time. So like this was the first and only 48-hour jam I ever finished. It was my very first game jam. I'm gonna hear sound and music, but you're not going to. But I made this in 48 hours. Super janky. All from scratch. This is my very first game in Godot. And the reason I'm bringing this up is very specific. Which is like, you can see it's super minimal. It has the thing that's the game, which is you can use the wind. You can summon gusts of wind to like move ships. And that's like the whole game. And I made this in 48 hours, you know, for Ludum Dare. Somehow successfully. And then the problem is, this isn't really what my vision was. Like, I didn't get to my vision. Like, you see it's so minimal. I think if I did this today, I'd be happy with this. But when I first did it, I didn't know really what to expect. So the problem is, I did this, and that was great. I spent 2 days on that. The problem is, I then spent 2 months making this version. And I think this is the danger that you're talking about and the danger that you're trying to avoid. And this happens. This hasn't happened to me since. Okay, there we go. This has not happened to me since. But yeah, this is what happens. You're like, oh, I'll just improve it a little. I'll add some different spells. Like, I've got my gust of wind, but I'll also add, you know, whatever. A whirlpool that can interact with the gusts of wind. And like a lightning storm. And like I'll do a water shader. And by do a water shader, I mean rip off the Just Codes water shader. But it's tempting to just be like, oh, let's just keep working on this. You can't hear it, but I have a full soundtrack and like sound effects and stuff I made. This is the danger. You end up spending 2 months polishing your 2-day game jam. So yeah, you do need to keep an eye on that. Does look sick. Yeah, it felt worth it. I did fun stuff with this. Like now there's like UI icons at the edge of the screen. Well, you can move the camera. I even made like a sea monster. We did a fun stuff. I really like this version of this game. This was my vision. The problem is it just took me 2 months to get to the vision that I had for my 2-day game jam. And so like, don't do this. If you're worried about, you know, a jam game getting out of control, this is how that happens. I've been pretty good about not letting that happen throughout the rest of my jam games. I've generally put them down at the end, like mini delivery. We did a little post jam to add controller support, but not much. Bare Necessities, I have post jam support that I've worked on for this, and I haven't published it, and I feel bad about it. Grave Escape never needed anything except controller support. Apparently, I need to add controller support to these games from the bat. I haven't done anything for Build a Bonsai. I think it's too recent, and I'm too close to it, and I'm still disappointed by it. But yeah, we'll see what we do this next weekend. I'm very excited. Solo dev jams are where we get to work on 3D games. I had a lot of coffee this morning. Hey, the Ant, you have time blindness. It's difficult to properly scope. Yeah, true. The only time you actually completed a jam, it was an hour long. Fascinating. That's fascinating. The jam you did was 36 hours. You were a team of 5 with the... Okay, yeah, that helps. A team of 5 helps. You did end up polishing your jam game and mostly to add mapping to put the game on some custom arcade cabinets a buddy made. Yeah, it's really easy to make your jam game and be like, oh, but I could just put a little more work into it and I could put it on Steam. People seem to like it. I think that's usually a mistake. That's occasionally a good idea, but I think it's usually a mistake. And even if it's not a mistake, it's a choice, right? It's a choice to be like, well, I was making this jam game. I like the jam game better than my main game. Or I'm already sick of the main game because I've been working on it for like 2 years. And so this jam game is just something different. And so that's one good reason to jam, but it's also a reason not to jam because you will be so sick of your main project. It's really easy to get to the end of the jam and be like, oh man, this jam game's fun. I'm like not done working on this. And so, yeah, I understand the hesitation, but I still think it's worth it. I would have lost my mind if I didn't start game jamming a couple years ago. I would have lost my mind if I was only working on this game, this main game. My skills have increased so much from game jamming compared to the me that before game jamming. I've learned so much, especially about art and just about finishing things on time, even though I do crash out of the occasional game jam. I've gotten better about scoping and understanding how long it takes to make something. Like, it's made me a better producer and creator. I don't know. I don't need to convince you. If it's not clear, I really have no idea of what to work on today, so we're kind of just hanging out. Like, I need to sketch out this new ship design, and I haven't figured out what it's going to be yet. But I really want this big... I think we're leaning more and more into, like, a Serenity style approach. And this is supposed to be the first ship of, like... This is supposed to be the first version of this. So we're trying to make it, like, tight and minimal. And, like, not the best. And so I think if you had to reduce the Serenity to its essentials, you would really just reduce it to just its cargo bay. I think that's its essential character, is the cargo bay. There aren't good examples of this. But yeah, I'm thinking of maybe a hexagonal design. Thinking of more of a hexagonal design. I'm just looking at some stuff on my other monitor. Arneo, you popped a quick cargo bay shape idea into Discord. You're procrastinating your own work. Yeah, I like that. Lost sleep. Your 4 teammates all lost motivation post-jam, so it would have been just you working on it if you took it to market. Yeah, that also is rough. That's not the reason I only do solo jams, but it's a reason. Cargo bay ship idea. Yeah, this is kind of what I'm thinking. This is close to what I'm thinking of. I think you've got these big side doors that arc down on each side. It's kind of like the Republic gunship, right? Like from Star Wars a little bit, or the Razor Crest or whatever. I don't know. Kind of. Not exactly, but kind of. They could open the other way around too, which might make more sense. What do you mean, like open it interior? Or do you mean forward and back? But yeah, what I'm thinking of this. What if it was like 2 hexagonal shapes? What if there was like, so this would be like the y-axis hexagonal shape, right? This is going to be not right in any way, but it's what I'm thinking about. So what if there was like kind of a hexagonal shape this way? This is where knowing your... So what if there was like a hexagonal shape this way? I think this is pretty neat. So there would be this kind of raised concave area. And then what if there was also in the x-axis also a hexagonal shape? This is going to be hard to do accurately, but I'm going to do my best. Like, what if it was like this? Like, this is interesting, right? Like, this would be interesting for like a single... I don't know why I'm fishing for a response to that. I think it would be interesting. I'm going to say. I'm going to come out and say it. I don't need validation. I don't need validation from anyone. But yeah, I'm interested in this idea. Might be a little shorter on the back. Like, I think this would be kind of interesting. And so, you know, I would work out the exact implementation of this, but I think this would be cool. You could have these big, you know, like the opposite of a gull wing door. I guess it could be a gull wing door. It could open up, but I feel like it makes more sense that it forms its own ramp. I think most of those doors open down so that they form their own ramp. I think this could be an interesting shape. This kind of double hexagonal cross section. I think this would be cool because we could put windows up here. We could put windows up here on this part. The wide point inside would be plenty of room for like you know, our catwalks. We could even have catwalk areas that aren't just, you know, these. They could be like more squared off, like actual like areas, like raised platforms without being a sealed room. I think what I want to avoid is actual hard subdivisions. I think I want to just have one set of exterior walls. Like as Rihanna said, the studio ship for those just starting out, you know? I think this would be sick. I think this kind of a thing would be sick. I know it's hard to visualize, but I think this would be cool. They said it would be cool. They could validation check. It's not too boxy like the cubes, but it's boxy and clunky enough for a Rocket Starship. Yeah, I think I'm unhappy with just the pure cubeness of it. And it's like, it's one thing when you're gray boxing to be looking at this, but the problem is we're trying to create a finished piece of art. And I'm glad that we're taking this approach, this less mechanical approach, and this more, well, just do the one-off. Do the one-off that looks good, because that's the point of this. Is that going to be like a holographic minimal display on which systems are broken and stuff? No, this was just me drawing the cross-section. So like this is just an idea of like the central planes for each axis. So like this shape that runs from left to right, it just represents the outline of kind of the contour. And then the other one that runs, the other one that's this more centralized one, this is the y-axis plane. So this is just, I could make that explicit. So it's just this. They're just planes. Like, I could technically get rid of it. I don't really want to do this. I'll probably undo this because I like looking at it in just plain form, but this is just to make it look right. Or to make it easier to see for a quick second here. That's the idea. Yeah, I think this could work. Because, yeah, I think Arneo summed it well. It's boxy, but it's not cubic. I like the opportunity for big windows, so you could easily imagine the front here is like a piloting area. The back here, we could have some engines sticking on the side or whatever. And then the whole interior area here could be like just cargo space. With maybe some raised platforms. We probably do want an airlock, if not two. We might even have... We could totally do the Firefly thing, which I really like the Firefly door. Firefly, rear, cargo hatch. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find a picture of this, but I really like the design. Oh my god, I'm getting cargo. I'm getting like... Oh no, there's a fucking electric car named the Firefly that's a hatchback. Damn you. Damn you, whoever made this. Hyundai? I don't know. Oh, it's impossible. Well, their rear hatch, it's like this big rear hatch, but it has a door in it. So you can just open the door. You don't have to, like, do the whole big hatch lower. You can just open the door. I like that. I like that design. I did try Serenity. I still got hot hatchbacks. It makes a lot more sense to you. Do you think it's a fun-looking ship idea? I think it could be good. I think it could be cool. We can even have my little crow's nest, because I really do want the Dark Star crow's nest. Oh my god, that's the name of a yurt that you can rent. I hate everything. I hate everything so much. Everything is so impossible. We truly live in the darkest timeline. It's really hard to say, but there's a little like, oh my god. There's a little room up here. It's just a little glass orb. And that would be cool to include because that's maybe like, you could have that be like an emergency escape hatch. Like, we could have it be this. We could have it be this. This could be the thing. This could be the little crow's nest, and you can like climb up into it, and it like doubles as like an escape pod or something. Like, we could connect it back to this, which I think would be pretty smart. And put one like up here. Kind of like in Dark Star. The spaced out spaceship, man. It's so crazy that's a John Carpenter movie. It's so funny. It cracked me up. Yeah, I really like their little bubble crow's nest where someone's just watching. They're just watching out for stuff. It could be like a little recreational area. What do you have against yurts? No, I just hate that I try to look up a cool thing from media and it's always someone trying to sell me some unrelated piece of garbage. Not that there's anything wrong with yurts, you know? Yeah, I think I need to sketch this back out. I guess what we should do is a full-scale version of this. I'm not going to make a new file. I'm just going to start adding new layers. Whole plane outline. Central plane outline. I'll say whole plane outline. Whole plane outline. Something like this. I don't think this is quite right. But yeah, let's see how much of the screen I want to take up. You were just gonna say it could be the bubble ship? I think that's a pretty good idea. I think that's pretty good. Great minds, huh? More layers for wrong layer, Dave. Yeah, seriously. Digital Iliad. Hey, Magoo. How's it going? Posting more videos into the Cat Tax channel. Pet Pick channel, but yeah. Videos not allowed. No, I'm just kidding. Videos are just moving pictures. You're also getting modded. You're getting auto-modded. I don't know what triggered that. Suspected spam content. Oh no. Let me see if you managed to get through. You managed to get through anyway. Okay. Nick's never let an auto-mod spam detector stop them from doing anything. All right, so we're gonna recreate this straight line. I like this line work. We just need to blow it up to the right scale. So this is slightly wrong because this is 5. It needs to be 4. It needs to be our thing. It needs to be 4 by whatever. And so we need to decide how big it's gonna be. So let's just start making a line. Sorry, YouTube VOD. It's gonna be a boring one. You'd never let a stinky bot beat you. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't rage. Rage against the bots. The clankers. We're using ours for good. I don't know what powers the Discord auto mod, but I assume it's some bullshit pattern recognition AI thing. Who knows? I assume it all is pretty much. All right. So this is the right line, so we can just keep copying and pasting this line. First, we should probably move it into a correct area. It's gonna be the bottom, so it's pretty far down here. So it's gonna be approximately like this. I like the way that this favors. So this one's going up by 3. Can we do it going up by 4? I like this one's going up by 2. This one's pretty much locked into 3. It might be hard to make it 4. Three will probably be okay. I haven't been showing off your pictures during ad breaks. I want to be clear, I'm not obliged to do that. I could try to make a channel redeem or something, but, you know. I do want to do another round of channel redeem stuff and, like, make the stream a little more interactive. But I'm careful about not doing too much of that. All right, one more line, and I think we'll be happy. Oh god, that was too far. Okay, so we've got this. Move it up by 1 maybe to make it extra confusing. I'll keep it here for now. And then, so we need another upper part. I think this will look nice. I think this will be a nice shape. I'm hopeful. I need to sketch it out in my free time. Try to do that maybe tomorrow. I've gotten into this habit of like watching like sci-fi movies and like sketching. In my free time, it's nice. I've enjoyed doing it. What is this? 6 blocks? So we could do 2 and 4. I like 3 though. That would be up by 3. That would be over by 1, up by 3. would need to be a little lower. So we're just going to roughly outline this. Is the idea. Okay, so this section would be like this. And this section would be like this. This isn't... It's not tessellating quite right. And tessellation is the wrong word. It's not working quite right. So this... How's this work? Well, this one's not quite exactly 3 either, huh? Well, let's see if we can do it. See if we can make it work. I think it'll work. I didn't actually do the math, but you know, we don't do, this isn't the kind of place where we do math before we do make decisions. But I can tell already that this isn't quite working the way I thought it would. I thought this would go, oh no, it is working. I can't count. Okay, I like this. I like the math. I like the ratio of this. So like this line is 4/1. This line is 1/3. This line is 1/2. I like the relationship of these lines. I think this will be good. And I think if we can maintain it, it will look very consistent, which is nice. You have to pay to advertise the Discord channel, which is the potential cute cat pictures. Well, I wouldn't call it advertising because, you know, we run it when everyone else is stuck in ads. But I appreciate it. I appreciate anyone who shouts out the Discord, adds value to the Discord, just is in the Discord. I appreciate anyone who chooses to be part of this community. This weird little community. I appreciate it. I think this is good in terms of ratios. I just gotta pick the midpoint and do the other side. The only real question is, what do I want to do with the edges? Not quite sure. Well, we can figure it out. Also, how wide is the ship gonna be, is the question, really. I don't quite know the answer, but I think it'll probably be about half as wide as it is long. Thanks, Rhiannon. Yeah, okay. Yeah, people will buy the subs so they can see the cat videos during the ads. That makes sense. No, I appreciate you're trying to add value. You're adding the value. Yeah, that looks about like the right distance. Yeah, I think this single body ship will be good for this purpose. I think this would be questionable. It'd be really cool if we use the same ship for like the tutorial or something. That'd be fun. Almost like fake people. I mean, for like the main game. We like put you back in this ship. People probably wouldn't appreciate that, but I think it would be funny. This kind of runs right to the edge, which is maybe a little too far. But maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. I can always shorten it if I feel. working out the silhouette. And I think this will be the exterior silhouette. I think trying to build this other ship from the inside out, while a good idea in theory, I think in practical terms, this was tough. This was a challenge. I think it's the same problem with building the details of this before figuring out the composition. And it's something I'm learning from my partner, who's like a much better artist than me. And by much better, I mean like an actual artist. Instead of someone who just plays one on TV. But yeah, I think thinking more about the composition of this is good. I do love the elements that we've come up with. Like, I want to keep our catwalk elements. I really like these. I might go back to a bigger... I might try to make the wider banister thing work, though. I think I still don't like this. I think it's a little too busy. Problem is it's easy. This is going to be harder. But we'll figure it out. Excuse me. Sorry for the sniffles. I'm having allergies. Arneo, you're glad we have pet people for image content? If you ever make a Discord for your games, you're going to need to get a pet and become a pet person yourself to keep the channel alive. Oh, man. If I had... The only thing keeping me from, like, mega levels of streamer stardom is the fact that I don't have, like, a pet cam in, like, the opposite corner that's, like, showing my, like, sleeping, like, Staffordshire Terrier. Which I don't have, I'm just saying. If I did. Instantly famous. You would get a cat, though, Arneo? Carnivorous killing machine as a pet is wild. Yeah, if you have a problem with rodents, they're great. Get a cat. I could probably have outdoor cats. I'm allergic, so that's not an option for me. I'm a dog person. I like dogs. I like dags, as they say. You like dags? Dags? Yeah, dags. You like dags. All right, so our options are to either curve things back. So we could either curve in, or we could go straight out to the edge and do a more squared off design. I'm probably going to do a more squared off design because I feel like this is going to look weird if we do it otherwise. But I kind of want to see. What this ends up looking like. Well, I'm glad we figured some direction to go, because again, I had no ideas when I went live today. I was like, I know I want to redo the ship, but I'm like, and I want to make it more big, open, like a single, like a mono hull, like kind of bathtub deal. And I think we're gonna get there. Appreciate you all hanging out with me for a lazy Saturday stream. It's not gonna be a super long one. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm feeling pretty lazy. I've been enjoying Star Trekker. I talked about Star Trekker a little bit. It's a fun game. I've been having a good time with it. Why is this? Did I go too far? I went way too far. You can get some cat breeds that have much lower amount of the allergenic stuff. Oh, I would love one of those, like, totally, like, hairless cats. They look cute. They're oily though. Real oily. No, I'm not at quite the point where I can get a dog, but that's like my life goal. Typical millennial life goal. It's not own a home or have kids. It's like, man, I would love a dog. This design is potentially too big. Potentially this design is too big. Also, I'm going to draw this out from this middle third. I'm going to do the line work. And we'll have to figure out, we'll have to decide whether it makes more sense. We'll have to decide what makes the most sense here. I could see us pinching the edges. So like if this is the plane, I could see us curving in the edges so that it's not like this fully boxy design. But I'm not quite sold on that. I think it might be worth it to go with this more, with a bigger, more squared off edges. I need to check it out. I need to see what I'm gonna see here. Look like a raw chicken. Yeah, they look pretty funny. Oh, I can't even have plants. Not that I'm allergic to... I mean, I am allergic to plants, but, like, that's not the reason I can't have plants. The reason I can't have plants is that I'm, like, not good. I'm not a good plant parent. I have slain every plant that I have been given. I'm not a good caretaker of plants. Plants are tough, too, because plants are just, like... They give you feedback, but, you know... It's not there. It's really tough. Plants are tough. Can't live with them. Can't live without them. It's tough. All right, here we go. Connecting it all up. How that overlaps. So here's the choice. We could either blend the edges of the ship here, which I actually kind of like. So we would just draw a line from like here to here and from like here to here. And it would be kind of this angular thing. Or we could project the thing out totally and just square it off. And just have it be fully squared off. That is not very dynamic shape. I'm tempted to do something like this. I'm tempted to do something a little more interesting. That would make the big doors like this section. The middle third. It does mean, so squaring that off here, and by squaring I mean just drawing a straight line from like here to here instead of like extending these corners all the way out. If I extend the corners all the way out, then there's a lot more usable space inside the ship. But again, this is supposed to be the starter ship, so do we want that much usable space inside the ship? I don't know. Having triangular edges like that is going to be challenging in a number of ways. But it would also be kind of cool. So I don't know. I've got to think about that. We'll keep doing this because we know it's going to look like this in the middle third. Just not quite sure what I want to do with the ends. A plant's not going to crawl on top of you and get in your face if they run out of water. No, they'll just die. They'll give you very little feedback and then die. Yeah, plants are tough. They're like, oh, guess I'm just going to die then. Someone forgot to water me, or someone watered me too much. At least that's a nice thing about cats, is they largely are not going to eat themselves to death. Nyx's cat excluded. Sounds like Nyx's cat would eat itself to death if given the opportunity. You can make an auto pot. As long as the bottom tray has water in it, it'll be watered through the fiber straw things that go into a pot. That's how I would need to. That's how I would need to do this. If I ever tried again to have plants, I would need to come up with like a mechanical, like, regimen. Instead, it can't be like an eyeball thing to me of like, oh look, the plant is like, it's looking like this today. And the problem is, I would come up with some kind of routine, and I would misidentify the situation, and I would get it wrong, and I would still just kill the plant. But that's definitely more what I would need to do. I kind of like the idea of these surfaces here, of like connecting it like this, and making this like a surface, getting rid of this part. I kind of like the idea, having like this be a face, you know? You know what I'm saying? I think that's better than necessarily making like a big boxy thing, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. Lost Sleep, you see the vision? It's pretty cool. I think it'll be a better silhouette. The last one, we didn't really think about the silhouette. The last ship we tried to design from the inside out. This one, I'm trying to think a little bit more. And that's something to think about, too, is like, well, how much of this interior space is usable? Our walls are like this thick, right? So, like, this interior space isn't even usable. Or whatever. Because it would be part of the wall. So that's an important consideration. We'll probably try it both ways. We'll try the like flattened corners. The like cut corners, I guess, would be the best way. We'll try it with cut corners, and we'll try it without cut corners. We might even do something where we put like a block in the middle. And so we do the cut corners, but we don't bevel it too tightly. We extend it out a little bit flat and then cut the corners. But these are just cross sections I'm drawing so we know the approximate shape of the thing. This is the wrong side. It should be here. Nope. Nope, that's right. You gotta go soon? No worries. Ooh, you have to practice your guitar lessons. Poor neighbor. Yeah. The midnight guitar lessons. That's all right. I appreciate you hanging out, Nyx. Have a good night. I know it's late. Here it's like 2:30 in the afternoon. We'll probably go for another 30 minutes or so. If you're 230, oh my god. Go to the dentist, you say. Get out. Get out. Killing me. It's so funny. Hey, Cake Hug, what's up? Happy Saturday. How's it going? We're trying a different ship silhouette. We like had this idea. We're kind of not pleased with this inside out design we've been doing with it has like all these different it has different like compartments for this ship where like you go through this door and now you're in the engine room or whatever. I don't like that for this initial ship, for the first ship design. Maybe in the bigger ship designs you'll have multiple sections of the ship and it'll be kind of cool, but I want to keep this catwalk kind of design, and so we're working on a new ship silhouette that's like more of a single piece. Like this is kind of the cross section for it. I'm thinking something a little more bathtub shaped, something that's like more of a single interior space. Kind of like if you expanded the Serenity's like cargo hold to like the whole ship. I think that would be cool. So we're mocking that up right now. Working on a new outline. We're outlining it. How are you doing? Hey, Bay64, what's up? How's it going? Welcome in. We're working on our side project, Lo-Fi Flyby, kind of a casual indie simulation of like a pilot, their companion, and a cargo ship. And so we're working on our designs for our first cargo ship. I think we haven't quite hit the mark yet. So we're working on it. Trying some different stuff out. This is all part of a bigger FTL-like game we're trying to make, but we're trying to start small. And by start, I mean change direction midway into making something small that we can make in, a shorter span of time. Welcome in. It's great to have you here. We're having kind of just a lazy Saturday. I got my whole art tablet out, and here I am just like using my mouse. It is not as good ergonomically, but whatever. Feeling very allergic today. Not pleasant. I guess it's spring. I guess spring has sprung. You wouldn't know it because it's like still pretty much in the 50s here. Still pretty much very cold. Sorry, someone texted me. Supposed to go to a barbecue tomorrow, like a game dev barbecue. It's gonna be like 56 degrees. I'm like, great time to be barbecuing. And this is all in Fahrenheit. I need to specify that for some reason. I'm sorry I'm not giving the temperature in Kelvin, as is traditional on this channel. That's perfect barbecue weather for you. It'll be fine. I'm used to it. I'll bring a scarf and a nice warm hat and whatever. It's just rather silly. That said, we're not going to get nice warm weather probably here in the city until like August or September. We have the very late summer. The incredibly misnomered Indian summer. So-called misnomered. So yeah, for us, usually late spring and early summer are very foggy, very cold. We'll see what El Nino does. All right, so here's the middle third. It's gonna be this shape because we want to have like a cargo door thing. I guess I should do the planes, the planar lines here. I know this is starting to be confusing. But I think it'll be okay. Like eventually you have so many wireframes where it becomes hard to see the ship design anymore, but we're almost done. And we'll fill in some of the planes. Make some opaque shapes that we can manage. But yeah, I think figuring out the exterior is a good starting point. I think it's a better starting point than what we were doing before. Just working out the interior. Okay, so here's the middle third. It's this like kind of hexagonal like chunk. We're gonna have a bubble ship stick out of here somewhere. Maybe we'll have two. No, we'll probably just have one. All right, and now what do I want to do with the corners? These are my choices. Either we either stick it out a little further, or we start to cut it. I don't think I like the idea of just cutting it. But I don't know if I necessarily like the idea of extending it out all the way. Maybe that would just be better, though, strictly. We'll try it, extend it out all the way. We'll try that first. Lost sleep. Did it take you a while to get a solid grasp of the perspective stuff? You always stuck with 3D, or you're always stuck with 3D because you don't have any traditional art background and really struggle with sprites and perspective? Oh, I am horrible at this. The thing is, it's easy in this. If you're in a, if this isn't real perspective, right? This is orthographic. So this is easy because there's really just two different, like there's isometric, which I like, but don't do very often, just for game jams usually. And then what we do is we do dimetric, which has the benefit of having the same initials in my mind as Digital Iliad. So we use dimetric, which is 4:1. So all you do is you figure out that relationship. So for isometric, it's easy because it's always 2:1. It's always 2 over and then 1 up, and 2 over and 1 up. And like this is a straight line, right? And so you just work everything out based on that. For us, we do 4 over then 1 up. There's a pattern you just have to repeat. Yeah, for a straight line, you know where your straight lines are. So it's only a problem when you start to try to do angled lines, right? And you can still just figure out rules. So like these are the old blocks that were bigger single pieces. So this doesn't quite work anymore for us, but all I did was I figured out where's the central line of this plane. Like if you were to bisect this plane, right? Like if you were to cut this plane in half diagonally and turn it into 2 triangles, where is that line for like the, exterior and the interior face? Or this one, or this one. And once you figure out the rules, then you can start carving things up. And that's where the complexity is like, okay, you're like, I want this kind of this acute or obtuse angle. How do I get that angle to look right? So yeah, it really is, you just figure out the rules. It's very mechanical. It's like, this is like early painting and perspective stuff. But yeah, I get you. I totally get you. I'm the opposite. I can't do 3D. I want to try Blockbench someday. But yeah, so we know, so all of our straight lines are over by 4, and then up by 1, and then over by 4. So these are all our straight lines, and then our angled lines are some other relationships. So like these ones are 1 to 2, so they go over 1 for every 2 up. And then this one, this plane, I've decided is over 3 for every 1 up. And so these are our angled ones, and these are our flat ones. And you figure out the relationships between those, and it becomes very prescriptive eventually. I want to do something here. You know what maybe we do is maybe we extend halfway out. Maybe we extend halfway out. And then do some kind of corner thing. I don't know if I want to go straight to the edge with these. Maybe I do. Maybe I do, actually. I don't know. It's pretty boring if I just go straight out. I'm not quite sure what I want to do here. I think maybe going halfway out is the play instead of going all the way out. All the way out would be extending this line from here, from the far side, all the way out to the front, and having these hard edges at every side. These hard edges that terminate with like this straight line, straight down. That could be good. That would be simple. We'd probably prefer that in the long run. It would look cargo-y. Cargo ships are kind of boxy. But I kind of want to try this halfway approach first, where we extend out halfway. And then do some kind of... like, we do less of a sharp corner. We do a bit softer corner, but we don't totally make it flush. We like, instead of doing, if the options are sharp or flat corner, we go kind of in the middle. We go kind of like a rounded or like beveled kind of corner thing. I think we're gonna try that. I think we're gonna try that. This is gonna get harder and harder to understand what we're looking at, but that's okay. That's okay. We don't like this. I should really do this on a different layer. I'm gonna say hull, middle outline. And I'm gonna make a corner outline. Just so if I change my mind or I want to try a different outline, I don't have to fix it. So we'll try the corner outline here. So I'm gonna try something in this corner, and we're gonna see if we like it. Did you make that reference sheet, or did you find it online? Oh, I made that. This is an area. This was when I was exploring initially how we were gonna do diagonal things. I haven't done curves yet. And none of this helps us anymore because we changed the size of our blocks. So technically I need to redo all of those, but I haven't done it. Yeah, this is a way I was exploring, because I was also, for the main game, we need to be able to zoom out and show everything at half scale. So that's like a creative limitation. Quarter scale just doesn't work. The shape starts to break down, but we want to do half scale so that you can be looking at the inside of the ship, and then you can zoom out and see the exterior of the ship. That's the idea, and that's how you'll manage. That's how you'll be able to see the interior of the ship at like full resolution, and then the exterior of the ship at a lower resolution, so you can be like, so you can direct the exterior behavior of like target weapons here, turn this way, and then you can zoom in and be like, all right, this boarding action is going to go from the teleportation point here to like the cargo bay here. So we have some creative constraints we're working into the main game that I'm kind of abandoning for lo-fi, because lo-fi flyby is a very different setting. Well, it's not a different setting, but it's a very different, we're definitely trying to do something different. It's a very different genre that we're trying to work in here. It's a little risky. Like an LOD? Yeah, it's kind of like LOD. Levels of detail for pixel art is hard. You can't just map it, right? The only real question is, do we go all the way? Or do we do some kind of halfway thing? I don't know. I don't actually know the answer to that question. Let's go all the way. Tried halfway if this doesn't look right. I went too far. Stop here. I might end up liking a sharp corner more than anything else, but I want to try this first. So we're extending halfway into the corner and then all the way out. We're going to do the same thing from the other side. And then we have this smaller area that we could potentially round the corner. And I need to pick what the right ratio is for that. I need to pick the ratio that looks right. I don't quite know what it's going to be yet. But we're trying to generally make this kind of a shape. We're trying to fill in the gaps on the corners. This one is longer, much longer than it is wide. This one's definitely wider than it is long. Maybe that's a mistake. But I want to leave some room for like engines, and I want to leave some margins, so I don't want to like completely fill up the space. And also this will extend out a little further. This will extend out to here actually if we go all the way, so we probably won't. Probably won't. Probably do something like this. Yeah. Yeah, well, we're trying to do very different things with this side project. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot less strategy in this. This is more of like more of a chill game. Which we might end up pigeonholing ourselves, and that might actually impact our main game and force us to be more, just overall kind of more chill. But I'm kind of okay with that. I kind of wish FTL had more lifestyle stuff. Like, I kind of wish FTL had, like, was a little bigger, and so that you would see, you know, crew members, they would go to the mess hall, you know. I would love to see your little crew members up just playing in a band or something on, like, or even just going to eat, going to get food, right? I would love to see a little more. It's like the joke of, like, there's no toilets on the Enterprise. It's like they've presented the information to you in such a way that you don't see any of this stuff. You don't see any of, like, the things that you would need for life, for the sake of life. Okay, I think I need to go even further here. I think I want to go by thirds and not halves. I think if we round this corner, it's too long. I mean, I guess never say never, but like it feels too long. Kind of want to go to thirds. We're going to try that. So we're going to go, well, I guess it's more like 3/4, not thirds. I'm going to try 3/4 instead of 1/2. We could try thirds too. Right now I'm trying to use the guides, the grid guide to help me a little bit. And so it's encouraging me to do things in halves and in quarters, not thirds. Thirds is a little tough. But it might be what we want. Quarters makes sense actually because this is the width of a wall. So it kind of makes sense how we're doing this. I say, convincing no one but myself. And maybe not even myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think this could be good. You love a good slice of life game. You want to make one so bad, but the content left is hard. It's a surprising amount of content to make a cozy game, even an idle one. Especially an idle one, because for that one, all you have is content unlocks. That's like the only way people engage with it. Yeah, I'm really interested in doing that too. I've realized over time that I'm kind of a cozy game dev. I'm kind of more interested in just doing cozy stuff than I am doing like hardcore stuff. Like I love the ambience and like just being in a space. And I heavily focus on that kind of environmental stuff. Much more so than I focus on like gameplay loops and stuff. For better or worse, you know. Arneo, your project update, you got bored of refining existing systems to actually improve the game, so you're making railguns now. Railguns are cool. That's kind of it, because that's how you make another interesting weapon, right? Like, everything you've got now is ballistic, right? So it's physical and it moves. The only other thing you can really do is make a hit scan weapon, right? And a railgun is essentially a hit scan weapon. Like, I know the rails technically take an amount of time to travel to their target, but I feel like functionally the way you want a railgun to work is for it to basically be a hit scan weapon, which means that it instantly hits whatever, you know. Okay, I like this better. So what this means is that we'll recreate the this corner stuff here. And then we'll have just one rounded piece here. I think visually that will be very nice. So let's figure that out. How does this start? I usually start it like that. Okay. Try this. Try this. Lost Sleep, you really tried to go cozy at first, but the only viable option would be a really systems-driven thing, like a shop simulator. That's a lot at your experience level. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I'm making an idle game. Not an incremental game, an idle game. Insofar as, like, this game is going to pretty much be able to play itself if you want it to just kind of be a desktop companion app. If you want to be engaged, I need to have the levers. You got to have the right lever. You got to have the levers so that people can do that if that's what they want to do. This is starting to get confusing with the amount of... I should probably start doing like an every other thing to show interior line work versus exterior line work, but whatever, who cares? We're just figuring stuff out. Yeah, I think this would be okay to have this be, to just round off this corner here. I think that's reasonable. And then have this go over. Oh, wait, hold on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, that'll work. That'll work just fine. That'll work just fine. All right, let's finish that line work then, so this looks correct. I think I like this. I think we can make this work. In fact, I'm going to actually erase this line so as not to confuse this any more than it needs to be. Appreciate everyone hanging out with me here. I was going to wrap it up right now, but I'm actually kind of feeling this, so we're going to keep working for a bit. We'll go a bit longer than I thought I would. Arneo, railguns are the last piece of the Expanse trio of weapons. PDC, missiles, and railgun. Ah. Now you just need the license. Just phone them up. I'm sure they'd be happy. I'm sure they'd be happy to help. Is this too far? No, this was just right. Is it though? Why does this feel like it's lower? Okay, it's not. It's just me not knowing what I'm talking about. Okay, so this would go like this. Hold on to your ads, people. We're heading in. This is when it's time to remember your Prime subs. Yeah, so I think we would round these corners off like this with straight lines. I think that works. I think we're okay with that. I think that's pretty good. I think visually that's pretty balanced. I could be a little more particular about it, but I don't know if I care. But we could go full on and just have like a vertical line. I mean, we might still have vertical lines, but I think rounding the corners there is okay. I don't want to do a design that's too boxy. I want to have a little bit of shape to it. We'll just do a legally distinct knockoff, the extent, or maybe the immensity. That's funny. The extent is good. The span. Spoilers. I barely remember the alien goo. I fell off that show so hard in like I want to say it was the beginning of season 3. I'm pretty sure I watched all of season 2. I will go back to it. I will give it another chance. If only just for the cool sci-fi ship stuff. Yeah, I like this. I think we're working. I think this is becoming coherent. Becoming coherent. That'll be the title of my memoir. My memoirs. Becoming coherent. That's a rather hopeful title. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Why does that go from here? It shouldn't really, should it? I guess it should. We're starting to get the shape of something here. Oh, I went too far. I know there's a lot of people that feel like the hero ship is tried and is tired and stuff. Well, do we want to do anything with the top part of this ship to add like some layers to it or anything? I guess we could just pop something on top. We don't really need to do anything now. This is still hard to see though. I can kind of see it. I can kind of see it. I can kind of see what we're trying to do here. Let's do the other side here. All right, I need to switch to my tablet. Tablet. Where's my cursor, tablet? Okay, my tablet is not present. Oh, it's not connected at all. Cool. Let's try this again. No? Yes? There we go. All right. Oh, that's much better. I hate that I drew like 80% of this ship before switching over. I find myself needing to do very different things with my mouse arm to prevent like repetitive stress injuries and stuff. Like I've started using a trackball, a thumb trackball mouse for work. That's helped a lot. Drawing with the tablet helps a lot too. I find that it's weird rotations of my wrist that get me. That's hard to avoid when you're using a traditional mouse. It's pretty easy to avoid if you're using like a trackball or a tablet. But it's so easy to get your mouse into like or your wrist into a weird shape when you're using a mouse. And that's been the devastating thing to me. Having the keyboards, my Kinesis keyboards have helped a lot. But we're still struggling with it a little bit. All right, so that's how that works. So that'd be like this. Man, streaming is so great. If you're spending a lot of time game deving and you're having a hard time with motivation and accountability and just like feeling like it, you know, like doing game dev, try streaming. I'm always in like a better mood after I start streaming. And I have to credit y'all. It kind of gets me out of my head too. It's really easy for me to sit here and work on it and just agonize over something. Harder to do that around other people. It's one of those, like, you could just go out and run every day, but it's hard to do that sometimes. And some people just they like going to the gym. They like having other people around who are doing the thing that they're doing. You know? Is that so crazy? What's going on here? I guess that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I would consider it. I would encourage people to consider it at least. Even just having one person sitting with you working. Really helpful, in my opinion. Yeah, I feel uncomfortable about whatever's going on here. Like, I'm not quite sure I'm getting the angles right. But maybe I am. I have mixed feelings about the way I've approached this. Like, why does this go up and over this way, but this way it just goes over? I might have an off by one error issue here, but that'll be fine. That's fine because we can sort that out. We can easily sort that out when we do the actual version of this. If I do feel like that's happening. It's not a huge problem. Okay. Lost game, lost sleep. LSG. LSG, you'd like to start streaming soon. You finally have a dedicated office space and control over your own internet. Those are important. You did one stream forever ago when you were learning Unity and it was a 2-hour-long panic attack. Ooh, I could see that. I could see that. I mean, clearly the problem there is not that you were streaming. The problem there is that you were trying to use Unity. You're able to lock in really well. The pressure to stay on task is real. Yeah, you do suffer from... You will pay a premium in terms of streamer brain, which means certain things will be really... It'll be really hard to think through hard problems. But the focus does help, I find. It does help. I do find it to help. Okay, I still don't know if I totally agree with the way this line works, but you know, we're at least being consistent. But yeah, I would encourage anyone to give it a try. Arneo, you'd rather just watch a stream? I think that's fine too. If those people didn't exist, I think you get a lot of the benefit, right? Do you feel like you get some of the benefit just from like co-working with people who are on stream? Because for me, there's that works for the focus part, but what it doesn't do is the accountability part, right? And if you don't feel like the accountability part's a problem, then no problem at all. But yeah, I think you can get a lot of the benefit just from co-working in general. Like, it doesn't have to be streaming. Co-working is good. I go to about 3 co-working events a week. And by go to, I mean they're like online in Discord server, like a chat, Discord voice chat. That helps a lot too. Just have other human voices of people who are also kind of trying to do the same work that you do. It really helps to get perspective on stuff. The worst thing you can do is just work in a vacuum and never get any feedback from anyone on anything. That's like the worst thing you can do. I know some people are artists and, you know, they don't want to get bogged down in like user testing. Or they would just, you know, ignore whatever feedback they were going to get anyway. I get that. I understand that. I ignore a lot of feedback as well, especially when I'm jamming. I know a lot of people have a hard time with focus nowadays. Just between the internet and, you know, our viewing habits and kind of just the downward trend in general, people being able to focus. I know some people are actually diagnosed, but for the rest of us, it's kind of just there's a lot of aspects to modern living that makes it hard to focus. Yeah. Yeah, I think the co-working is the key, Arneo. I agree. I just, for me, the way there is streaming. I do co-working, like I said. I do that. I do that. Lost sleep. You're actually losing the ability to stay on task without a co-work stream on the second monitor. You used to have anime or music playing, but now it's too distracting. Yeah, if I'm super honest about it, if I'm actually trying to focus on work, I have to put music on. I can't put video. If I put video on, I get distracted. If I put human speech on, I also get distracted. So if it's someone just talking about something, it's super distracting. So like, if I'm actually locking in, I have to just listen to music. There's no alternative for me, but... So why does that connect here to here there? From oh no, that's correct. Okay. So yeah, I actually don't watch other people's streams a lot unless I'm like kind of just decompressing. Arneo, it definitely helps you work on the project to check in every stream. The main benefit is probably just the infectious energy of people doing the same thing you are. I hope so. I hope so. I hope the enthusiasm comes through in the work that we do. Lost sleep, you're diagnosed but not medicated anymore, and this coffee counts. Oh yeah, that's like self-medication, right? I know it's really hard for people. I know there's been a lot of medication availability issues for people that need stuff for their like ADHD and other things. I know that's a tough situation right now for a lot of people. You can tolerate the odd game dev podcast, but if there's talking, it has to be on topic to your work. Yeah, I really don't listen to a lot of game dev podcasts. The one that I do listen to, which is Coffee with Butterscotch, the As Was game dev comedy podcast of Butterscotch Shenanigans. It has a different title now that I'm not going to dignify. But yeah, I like that one. But when I listen to that, I'm like doing the dishes. I don't listen to that when I'm actually working on anything. I listen to it while I'm like doing the dishes. That's pretty much exclusively when I podcast, is when I'm cleaning. But yeah, Butterscotch is good. They're good. Their stuff's good. It's too far. All right. Now even I am starting to get confused about where we're at in terms of this line work. I think I might have gone too far. Maybe not. Okay, so there's this. I need to zoom out. Even I'm having a hard time now. Oh. Well, I see that line. I could do that line. I see where there should be a line. We'll get rid of these lines over time. It'll be a lot more clear what we're looking at. I'm just doing a wireframe. I find it helps to do a wireframe when you're drawing in perspective, in a perspective like this. It prevents a lot of silly mistakes where, you know, you end up drawing from two different directions and you don't end up in the same place. Kind of like what's about to happen here. Like, this is wrong. Why is this wrong? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, this is totally from the wrong spot. Like I said, helps with silly mistakes sometimes. Maybe not all the time. 2, 3. Yeah, okay. I think I see where it's supposed to come from. This doesn't look quite right, but we'll see. Let's see if this lines up. I would consider that off by 1. How did I manage that? Oh, I see. I see how I managed that. Oh, maybe this one's off by 1. I might have butchered this whole thing. Let me see. Yeah, I did. Oopsies. Oopsies. This is what I get for yapping. Oh, well, this line is correct. This line's not. Let me get rid of this connecting line. I can't actually see what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Oh, interesting. So this actually, I don't know if this totally lines up either. Okay, so this one is coming out here. Yeah, I think I started to mess up here. Okay. Try to figure this out. Let's try to make sure we're following our own rules here. All right. I'm gonna do more of the supporting line work first before I try to jump to conclusions here. Lots of lines. Yeah, bae. Yeah, we're doing a wireframe. We're doing a wireframe for a ship outline. Which is a little silly to do in 2D pixel art, but it helps. It does help. Because if I didn't have it, I would have just... Like, I could have easily kept that weird line mistake that I ran into. So is this right? This is 3/4, right? Yeah, this is 3/4. I know it's kind of hard to see what we're working on, but we're working on this cargo ship. We're taking this simple 2-plane kind of design of this kind of almost hexagonal design for a cargo ship, and we're drawing the rest of the owl, as they say. And I could get rid of these interior lines, but they're going to help when we do the interior of the ship, so I'm not going to get rid of them. So it's just going to be kind of confusing. I'll do a layer where we paint over it, and we can look at this. We can look at the shape, decide if we like the shape. Okay, so that's right. Okay, so far... So when it goes down, it starts there. When it goes up, it starts off to the side. So this one should be like this. It starts here. Appreciate everyone hanging out with me on Saturday here. We're having a fun weekend. I'm already ready for Sunday. Sunday is like my one day where I like literally don't do anything, and it's pretty nice. All right, this one I think these are wrong too. Unfortunately, yeah, this one's off by 1. Rip. This line is also wrong. You can tell here. Yeah. Let's try that again. I like pixel art. I like the rules. It's really easy to tell the rules. I like the mechanical nature of it. My partner, who's like a more trained artist, like a traditional artist, thinks I'm kind of weird. She can't imagine drawing the way that I draw. There we go. That's correct. All right. We're getting there. All right, so then we can finish this like this. And then we'll have another corner done. There we go. That's correct as well. So there's a straight line here where it meets. There would also be a straight line. Well, hold on a second. So that goes like that. Yeah. So there'd be a straight line here. And there'd be one more straight line here. And that's kind of a mess, but that's okay. Why is it such a mess, actually? 2, 3, 2, 3. Oh, it's because they cross over, I see. That'll go away when we put a solid color there. But that's nice. I like that. You can't actually see this. You wouldn't be able to see it from the bottom, but you would be able to see this part from the top. That's kind of neat. Yeah, I like that. All right. I like the shape. I like the slightly rounded edge thing where we cut the edge like this. It shows how crazy the perspective is, though, the change. But that's all right. That's all correct. So let's extrapolate that to the rear of the ship, and then we're done. And we're kind of done. At least with this part. I still think we should do something with the top of the ship here. Maybe we'll just have like what are they called? Like what are the little, what's the word for all the little details on like a Star Wars ship? It starts with a G, I think. Hey, thanks for the follow, Bay. Appreciate it. LSG. I've just started to start calling you LSG. If you want me to keep using Lost Sleep games, let me know. You like that about pixel art, but man, does animation take forever? That's the pain. That's the pain. And that is why people do it Dead Cells style. That is why people make their 2D art Dead Cells style, where they model it in 3D and then they make sprites out of it. Because you pay for the animation. Cool with you? Okay, good. So all we're going to need to do is figure out the thickness of these exterior walls, and then we will know what kind of interior space we have to work with. Oops. Sorry, I just like absolutely thrashed the microphone with my hand here. Hopefully the shock mount got most of that, but if not, I'm sorry. Greebles. Thank you. Visual Basic. How's it going? Happy Saturday. Greebles. Yeah, maybe we'll just do some greebles on the top plane, because the top plane of this is going to be kind of boring if we don't come up with some kind of structure. But maybe that'll be nice. Maybe that'll be important juxtaposition to kind of this cool, kind of faceted. It's really a faceted look that we're going with, this kind of hexagonal kind of shape for this cargo ship. And then we'll put some engines in the back. The engines will have shit tons of greebles. Although a greeble for us is like a straight line of pixels or like maybe little boxes or stuff. At this resolution, greebles are a bit tough, but they're also, in a way, pretty easy. Okay, so that goes up. So if we're going to recreate that here, it would be like this. Greebles. What a great name, the Greeble. Greebles are really good for communicating scale. This is pretty small scale, so I don't think we're going to need a ton of it, but there we go. And so this is going to be like this. So is it like this then? There's an issue here. I can feel it with the way I've done this outline. We're not really respecting the double outline that we normally use, and that's okay. We'll just fix that. That should be pretty obvious when we start filling in. Okay, there's another panel. So we'll do this panel now, maybe. Connect the back, and then we'll just have one more corner to do. And that'll probably be it. It looks like we're on track to be able to do all of that before the hour is out here. And then this will be good. This will have been a nice, big, full day of streaming. Going into this, I thought I was going to have a really short stream. Not feeling it. But I think we're onto something here. All it takes is to, you know, try. I heard a really interesting thing from it was about a study of architects, and it was about the distinction between like a mediocre architect and a good architect, or a creative architect, someone who is regarded as a creative architect. And this is all out of a book. I didn't read the book; it was relayed to me, so full disclosure. The interesting thing is the one common data point between the well-regarded as creative archetypes and the more regarded as mediocre architects, not archetypes, architects, was that the creative architects, they didn't just start work immediately. They never immediately started work. They would wait. They would wait until they had an idea. And I'm like, that's interesting. And I think there's a danger where if you're always trying to produce, you're often producing mediocre work because you're so worried about velocity that you don't stop and think about, like, is this actually worth doing? Is it worth doing it this way? And so, like, we already had a ship design that we had put a lot of effort in, but we had kind of done it inside out, and I could kind of tell that it was going to be a mediocre ship. And it's like, if this is for the main game and it's just like an NPC ship that you see once and then never again, like, yeah, we could absorb a mediocre ship into the list. Like, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But if you're talking about the player ship, if you're talking about a hero ship, and like, in fact, kind of the only ship in the game, at least at the moment, that's not acceptable. And so it makes a lot more sense to stop and think, does this work? Is this right? Bay, you're working on a pixel image for your C64 game. Ooh. You're trying to reduce the number of characters to under 256 so it fits where you want it in memory. Start at 600 plus characters. Interesting. That sounds like a pretty, I'm sure working on what I assume is a Commodore 64 game is like a serious, I'm sure there are serious constraints there. That's very interesting. I like the creative, I like the constraints. I like that stuff. That's part of the reason why I work at this really low resolution. I'm not having a good hair day. I'm having a Dave is looking rather bald hair day. But yeah, I like working at this small resolution. It's really obvious. Like, I always bring up my little isometric truck. We did this for a game jam that I dropped out of, but like a couple weeks ago, but it was really hard to make a truck at this resolution at this perspective, but I feel good about it. It's the same process as what I'm talking about when I'm doing my wireframing. You figure out the rules of the perspective, and then you figure out what the consequences of those rules are, and then you have a drawing. And that's how you make it look real. That's how you make it look like in universe, right? Like, this isn't the best drawing. It's certainly not the best drawing of a truck. But it's like, when you see it zoomed out like that, you can kind of see it. It's not great, but I really enjoy the challenge of representing things at this scale. It's very abstract. I think it's fun. I have a good time. You can still be very evocative. Like, this is a very evocative scene, if I say so myself. But like, it's not unclear what these are. Like, this is obviously a little dude in a chair. Like, this is obviously a starship captain. There's maybe some contrast issues with some of these, with like the little duders in the foreground, but overall, that's what makes it fun. Yeah, lost sleep. That's why you palletize all your colors, even in 3D. When you only have 2 to 16 colors to work with, it becomes more about contrast and shape language. Yeah, that's a really good point. I love limited palettes. When I do a game jam, I usually pick a very limited palette. I have a larger palette for this project, but that's on purpose. That's because I need to represent a lot of different things, and I want it to be coherent, so I try to use one palette, but it's like a big palette. You see what it is pretty quick. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the interesting thing about sprite work. A good sprite comes together quickly. Like, I think if it takes a long time to work the shape out, you're probably going the wrong direction about it. Like, sometimes that's unavoidable. The iteration's unavoidable, but like, I feel like, yeah, focusing on that kind of shape language is a good way of putting it. It's interesting. I'm learning about this stuff. I'm not much of an artist, but I'm learning. Like, I had a hard time with this composition. It took me a while to get there. And this isn't the best composition, but it's a lot better than what we had before. I'm not used to working this way, though. I'm not used to working at this level. I'm used to working at the level of individual details. I'm used to making a bunch of individual little assets and then figuring out how to integrate them. And that's like different. That's a pretty different challenge sometimes. Right. So here's this. Whoa, boy. This is a little tricky sometimes. All right, there's another corner. 3 out of 4 corners to find. I know it's like impossible to see what's going on now. I'll split these into like interior and exterior line work soon. It's almost like just a big gem. What we've ended up with. We've almost ended up with like a cut gem. Like a big like emerald or something. Maybe we play into that. What if we have, so we had this rust bucket, like interior color that we were using here, right? For this. What if we have this interior still, and then we make the exterior like green, and we like lean into the kind of gem thing? Or maybe blue, we could also do blue. Maybe we do something like that. I think that could work. I think it could work with this. Yeah, that's kind of where we're ending up. This kind of cut gem look. The Emerald Voyager, yeah. Name all the ships after gemstones? Well, let's not get carried away. But I think it's cool. I think it's a cool idea. Another Sapphire starship. There you go. There you go, Arneo. That would be the play, wouldn't it? It would be a fitting tribute to our most consistent viewer, who is currently on, as of today, on a 105 stream streak. Shout out Sapphire Starship. That'd be funny. We'll see. You gotta be careful about doing stuff for the sake of inside jokes. Even when they'd be funny. Can I do the front here? Oh, excuse me. Still just absolutely bashing my microphone here. My nose is feeling very itchy. It's pretty maddening. It's a pretty maddening issue when you're streaming. You're running into. Does this line work matchup? Oh, that line is gone. Why don't I have a line like that here? What? Is that just a trick of perspective? Or did I erase that line? I might have erased that line. Oh, yeah, it's perspective. Okay, no problem. No problem. Oh, this is wrong. Whatever I did here was wrong. This doesn't look quite right either, though. One, two, three. No, but it is right. Okay. Consistency. Consistency is key when you're working out stuff like this. There's a lot of things where there's a lot of arbitrary choices you got to make when you sort this stuff out. And as soon as you arbitrate, you got to be super consistent. It's really easy to mess it up and be inconsistent. And that inconsistency is very obvious. And left unchecked. One more corner. Top left corner. That's the only corner left. And then our wireframe is done. And then we can work on filling it in. I can work on figuring out how thick the hull is and how much interior space we have to work with. But we're generally meeting my goal of keeping it to within these blue lines, which is about half the size of the viewport. I think especially with the first ship, that's important. We don't want to end up... Because if we make the first ship as big as it can be and we make it as grand as it can be, then it's like, well, then what's the point? You know? What's the point? I feel like this feels wrong, what I'm doing here. This feels inconsistent. I'm a little concerned. But if we look at it as it goes around, maybe it is consistent. Concerned. I have concerns. I think it's okay, though. Just have to be vigilant. Maybe one of the lesser known gemstones would work as a name. It's true. It's true. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about a name. But we do need a name for the ship, that's for sure. I'm very careful about names. Names are the sort of thing that just kind of, they come when they come. You don't rush a name. More specifically, you don't force it. A forced name is not much of a name. I mean, in one sense, you know, a rose by any other name. Well, yada yada. Yada yada yada. That's pretty disrespectful to yada 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 Shakespeare, but you know, whatever. He won't mind. Yeah, there's an off by one error somewhere in this line work, and that's okay, because we've consistently applied it to every error. We'll figure it out when we actually make this thing, because we're gonna still observe the double outlines that we put per block or per seams between block structures. So we'll apply the double outline. It's just not here in the wireframe. It's okay. That just means we're biased in a direction. That's okay. That's okie dokie. Okie dokie. Oh, this is the wrong one. I'm like, why is this line diverging? Oh no, this is off. This is not how we do it here. Why are these different? Are they different? No, they're the same. Okay, never mind. We're good. It's good. We're good, people. We're all good. This has been fun. I'm sorry I missed my Thursday and Friday streams. But we should have a pretty normal streaming schedule next week. Starting Friday, we are going to be doing the Solo Dev Jam streams. So we'll stream Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That will probably impact the following week's schedule to some extent. I don't know to what extent, but to some extent. Well, certainly it will. But I'm excited. I need to regain my honor and actually complete a jam. And then I think that's it for jams for a while. I love my jams, but you know, at a certain point you just gotta get back to work. We'll see. If there's a summer solo dev jam, I'm gonna have a hard time turning that one down. That's hilariously the one jam I want to win someday is the solo dev jam. I don't know why. I don't get the same way about about bigger jams or even smaller jams. But I covet the solo dev jam. I covet the jam winner Discord role. So someday. So I'm gonna try to sign up for every solo dev jam I can. Is this right? Or is this right is the wrong word. Is this consistent? Yeah, it is. Okay. I know I could have probably done some fancy flipping of stuff to make this happen, but I want to just draw it. Sometimes I just want to draw it. Ooh. Yeah, what's going on here? This is weird. This is wrong. This is wrong because it's, oh, I see why it's wrong. I made this mistake before. I want that. I want that line. To keep that line. We're going to fix it here. This wasn't supposed to go down by one. It was supposed to go out and then down. Which, now that I think about it, is very wrong. But that's what we've been doing, so now is not the time to fix it. We'll fix it later. When we actually draw the ship. This is just a wireframe. This isn't the greatest ship in the world. It's just a tribute. But yeah, that's deeply wrong what I'm doing here. Extending out and then down like this. Oh, maybe it's not that wrong. I shouldn't be doing this on the back, but I think it's okay to do it on the front here. This is bad. Am I doing that over on this side? Yeah, I am. Yeah, that's wrong. I gotta sort that out. F. Okay, well, I have to redo the corners then. This actually was right. The other side is what's wrong. I know these art streams are not the most entertaining, so I appreciate everyone who just hangs out here with me while we're doing this stuff. All right, I have to redo these ones now too. This is wrong. Actually, yeah, this is wrong. Wolfenite is the wildest gemstone name. You like tourmaline? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I love reading about rocks in a dwarf fortress and being like, that doesn't sound real. And then I look and I'm like, oh, this is all very real. Like, they take their rocks seriously. The line be here? Yeah, it would. All right, this looks way more coherent than whatever was going on over here. That might just be a trick of the perspective, though. Maybe not. That might be just being bad. But I think we've got it this time. Oop. This is a good song. That's the next area I really need to explore is some digital music stuff. I gotta get working on that. That is the single biggest content work. The single biggest piece of content work that is going to be involved in this game is going to be making the audio. This doesn't look good. Maybe it's okay. We have a problem. This stuff doesn't line up. Okay, I see what I did. I see what I did wrong. I overcorrected. I misidentified two situations that were different, thinking they were the same. They're not the same. They're different. History is a dangerous teacher. Really do admit easy to misidentify things. There we go. Here we go. Although, it's weird that this is like this. Where's another example? This is doubly weird. Oh, no. This is right. Okay. All right. We got it. We figured it out. We got it. We're doing it. Lost sleep. You're up to 30 sound effects so far, not counting those you grab from free sound without editing at all. Yeah, I am of a way where we'll be making all of it from scratch. I have this vision of a very dynamic soundscape. Because this is like an idle game, we need like a lot of audio content. So I don't think I can just have like a handful of recorded songs and stuff. So I'm going to try to use like Fmod to create like a kind of a more vibrant or dynamic soundscape where music kind of fades in and out and sound effects complement it. It's going to be a lot. But I think it's going to be a big differentiator for the game. I know that's the dream. I know everyone is always like, oh, I'm going to make a dynamic soundscape. Look at me. It's going to be hard. But I feel obliged. Okay, this is weird, but I think this is correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this section. we're gonna do is we're gonna delete. Oh, did this end up being the same? Not really. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna delete this, paste this in, shift it. Whoa. Wrong key. Try to do this. There we go. All right, there it is. There's the gemstone. It's really hard to see what we have here because of the outlines, but I like it. I like the slight bevel on the edges here. Bevel is the wrong word. I like the rounded, the cut corners on the side. It does promote that kind of gemstone look. It's cut at just the right angle where you have some really nice, like very like angular hull pieces that you can see at the edges, while still maximizing the interior space. So all I really have to do, so this is, I like this size. Does Control G hide the grid? No, Control tilde does, or Control apostrophe. I didn't realize I pressed that. It's just within the boundaries that I want. It's exactly within the boundaries, which is perfect. Little room on top if we want to do something. We might add a little bit to the top to make it, to prevent it from being this totally flat thing, but that might also be nice. That might be a nice juxtaposition with everything else. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with this implementation from just this little sketch here. Wolfenite is bright red. Ooh, that's good for you, Arneo. Yeah, that could be interesting. Lost Sleep, do you use wavetable synths? You're not familiar with Fmod. Does it do synthesis or just effects? What Fmod is about having audio that gets mixed in and triggered by like variables in the game. So it's like a way of hooking in like it's a way to control audio with game state a little more directly. And it's kind of hard to use, especially in Godot, because there isn't really a clear integration. So we might end up doing something kind of different, but it's the principle of what I want to do. No, I'm an analog musician. That's the only kind of music I'm familiar with producing. So I'm brand new to like digital music production. Yeah, it can also do effects, and it does a lot of, it's a lot about how to present the audio based on what's currently happening in the game. So, you know, if you want to transition to like a boss fight music, but you want to do it like based on the physical position of the boss related to like the player, you can like hook up stuff like that. I'm not explaining it well, but that's kind of the idea of it, is that it's more tightly connecting the audio soundscape, or the soundscape with like the game state. That's what Fmod is supposed to provide. Yeah, I think this will be cool. This is a good starting point for next time. If you're making a lot of your own sound effects, Serum is extremely useful with that. It's used a lot in EDM genres. You've made everything from vocoders to ocean sounds with Serum. Ooh, nice. Let me remember that. Let me remember that. Serum. It's a lightweight skincare product. Serum 2, the advanced hybrid synthesizer. Ooh. Okay, this is getting bookmarked. I'd be interested in this, because yeah, I don't have a lot of physical equipment. So I'm gonna definitely be a little pricey, but worth it. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what I want my workflow to be. I like this ship design though. I'll need to figure out, we'll figure out some engine, some big engine thing we can put in the back. And I think this will be good. I think this front will be really good for like having a big piloting area. It'll be nice. I think this is a good design. I think I'm pleased with this. I know it doesn't look like anything. It will. We just need to fill in. We just need to fill in the exterior and the exterior. All right. But I think that's it for today working on Lo-Fi Flyby. I think that'll be a good ship. Yeah, this was fun. This was a nice Saturday. I enjoyed this. This was a good stream. Appreciate everyone hanging out here. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. I'll be back on Tuesday for our regular scheduled stuff. Good stream. You got a whole 1 attack done on your boss. Ooh, nice. It's your first time it's going slow. That's all right. Bosses are tough. Bosses are really, I mean, by definition, they're tough, but like they're tough to make too. They usually break a lot of rules that you've spent all this time establishing. Or if not break, they at least bend them. But yeah, I'm excited to see that. Please share some progress when you feel like it. Yeah. So we'll be back Tuesday. More game dev. Friday, solo dev jam number 11 starts. If you feel like it, if you're a solo dev and you feel like a jam, solo dev jam number 11 coming up. Some people have signed up for it just during the stream. I mean, probably not because of me, but you know, it's good. Starts in about 6 days. We're voting on the themes right now. I need to figure that out. But yeah, we'll be back Tuesday. Until then, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.